my Manchester United versus Chelsea combined 11. We're also going to be doing the latest Manchester United news, of course. We're taking some of your questions because it's Friday Night Live. But yes, I've been asked to do this. I'm intrigued to do this. And I want to do this as well. So let's see how this is going to work. My Manchester United versus Chelsea combined 11 on the United stand. And yeah, right. Well, let's start off straight away. Very, very easy. In goal, it's David De Gea. I don't care what I know what I'm not going to deal with tonight. I'm not going to deal with bloody potential is going to be great and speculation. You know, oh, this thing's going to be superb. How many times have we heard that before? Bitcoin the lot. Tell you, I don't care how good potentially Mendy is. David De Gea has been fantastic in the last 2 games and has been fantastic for the last 10 years. So David De Gea is the goalkeeper in a combined 11 with Manchester United and Chelsea. You can pick the pips out of that. Very, very easy. We are going to be talking about Pogba's contract, what Solskjaer said about our home form, and a new role for Tuanzebe, which I'm not particularly happy about. But let's get through this combined 11 at the start of the show. Now, right back is interesting. And look, I'm intrigued as to how many Chelsea players are going to get into this, because Chelsea fans are going to be all over it. I think there's big parallels between Manchester United and Chelsea. And I think Chelsea have bought a lot of money and should be expecting to finish comfortably in the top 4, which is not necessarily what we think as United fans. But it doesn't mean you get a load of players in a combined 11. And I'm going to look at this in an unbiased way as much as I can, even though I'm a United fan. So right back for me is interesting because I do rate Reece James. But again, I think you're talking potential over actual proof. And look, yes, Wan-Bissaka was poor after lockdown, but he's just pocketed Neymar and Mbappe. And for the first 8 months that we bought him, he was probably our best player. So for me, it is definitely Wan-Bissaka at right back. You can argue, and I understand why Chelsea fans would say Reece James, but to me, I'm not even getting in a debate. He's a very good player, but it's Wan-Bissaka at right back. Now, centre-backs is very interesting because I don't rate United centre-backs. And I don't think Chelsea fans rate their centre-backs. So this is going to be easily the hardest area. Answers in the live comments, please, to help me out with this. Azpilicueta, get out. Get out, Azpilicueta. I'd take James over Azpilicueta. So it's James or Wan-Bissaka, and I go Wan-Bissaka. Centre-backs, I'm open to it. You know, I was talking to Alex Goldberg on his podcast yesterday, and I said I quite like Rudiger, and he said that's because you don't watch him every week. He's crap. So, and Chelsea fans apparently would think that. It's difficult to pick 2 centre-backs, I've got to be honest. I'd love to put Tuanzebe in there, but then I'm falling into the same category as what I'm going to dismiss when we get into other areas where people say that these players are amazing, but they've got no track record in the Premier League. I don't think you can put Tuanzebe in there. I think you've got to put Thiago Silva in there just because of pure ability. I think you've got to put him in there because he's the best out of everybody. He's better than Lindelof. He's better than Maguire. He's better than Zuma. He's better than Christensen. So Thiago Silva's got to go in there. But who else you put with him? I mean, I agree with Jake. I would like to see Tuanzebe and Tomori. I think that as a future pair, they're brilliant. But I don't think you can put them in. So Thiago Silva and Lindelof, a lot of people are saying. Zuma and Silva. I mean, I don't mind Zuma, but yeah, I don't know enough about Chelsea's centre-backs, but you lost 13 games last year. So I'm happy to put Thiago Silva in because he wasn't part of that mess. And United did have the 3rd best defence in the league last year. So you've got to put a United centre-back in. You can't have Chelsea. I mean, I'd be ridiculed if I went with 2 Chelsea centre-backs. You know, you can't do that. It's like bloody putting, I don't know, a bloody gingerbread man in charge of your fridge when a load of bloody foxes turn up. You're going to get eaten. You can't have that. So it's got to be a United centre-back that goes with Thiago Silva. I don't know. I actually don't know. I do not know. David Lee says you've got to put Maguire there. I think you've got to put... I actually think you have to put Maguire. As stupid as it sounds, Maguire is better than Lindelof. I do think that. Not at the moment, but I do think that. So I'm going to go Maguire and Thiago Silva. But to be honest, lads, and ladies, this combined 11 is going to get battered every week because at centre-back, it's screwed. And I think Chelsea and United fans can unite on that. Left-back, well, to me, it's Telles. And look, again, people might moan about that, but I know Telles hasn't played in the Premier League yet. But Telles, if I'm putting Thiago Silva in because he's an established one of the best centre-backs in the world, well, Telles is in the top 5 left-backs in the world. Fact. He was Porto's best player. Chilwell is potential. And Luke Shaw is not even liked by half United fans. So for me, it's Telles at left-back. Yeah, without a doubt. Gabriel is the 3rd best centre-back in the league, says Bernie Collins. But he doesn't play for Chelsea or Manchester United. And this is a Chelsea-Manchester United combined 11. What the hell are Arsenal sticking their nose in about a combined 11 between Chelsea and Arsenal? Get back to Thursday night Poundland Europa League football. You're not wanted here. Next week, we'll do bloody combined 11 with your lot. But not this week. So, yeah, I'm going to go Telles. So that's my back 5. David De Gea, Reece James, Thiago Silva, Harry Maguire and Telles. And to be honest with you, I'm not happy with that back 4. I'm not. I think this exposes what United fans know the problem is with Chelsea, with United, centre-back. And what Chelsea know their problem is, centre-back. Full-backs, I think we're happy. And I think Chelsea fans will go Chilwell and James. Or Chilwell and James. But from us, we're going to go Telles and Wan-Bissaka, and David De Gea is in goal. But the centre-backs are a massive problem, of course they are. So, difficult. But I would go Telles or Shaw at left-back. Smash a like on the video if you're watching. Right, the formation I'm going to go with is a 4-2-3-1. Because I think that's the position, that's basically what Chelsea play. And I think it's the one that Ollie wants to play. So, I'm going to go, I'm not going to mess about. I think centre-back's the hardest place to go with this. I'm going to go with a bit of a personal thing. I'm a massive fan of Kovacic. I really like Kovacic. So I'm going to go Kovacic as one of the holding midfielders. But I'm going to have somebody really combative with him. So I'm going to go with Kovacic and Fred. And I know that's going to blow minds. Because Chelsea fans are going to go, why are you going with Kovacic and not Jorginho and Kante? And United fans are going, why are you going with Fred when you could go with Matic and McTominay? I'm going with what my combined 11 is. And I'm trying to build a team that I think can play good football and win things. So I'm going with Kovacic and Fred as my 2 midfielders in a 4-2-3-1. With both of those players, you're going to get tenacity. With both of those players, you're going to get the ability to break up the play and feed better players. And then with Kovacic, you've got a player that can actually carry the ball, whereas Fred can just do the roaming around. So I think it's a risk. But I'm not into... I think Kante's had his best days. And I think Jorginho is just a little bit... I like Jorginho, but he's not for me. McTominay's not for me. And Matic, I think, has had his best days. I mean, look, to be honest with you, 3 years ago, I'd have said Matic and Kante. But not now. It's Kovacic and Kante. Kovacic and Fred. I'm a massive fan of Kovacic. And I think Fred with somebody next to him works really well. I mean, Kante at his best gets in. Kante and Pogba is the French combination, so I can see that. I can go along with Kante and Pogba, but as many Manchester United fans will tell you, Pogba in this, you can't have your cake and eat it. You can have your cake and eat it, but you can't have your cake and then spit it out and complain. Many Man United fans don't like Pogba in a 2, in a deep 2. So to me, it's Fred and it's Kovacic, and that's what I'm going to go with. Hey Mark, what do you think about the coaching staff behind Ollie and the medical staff? I think they are incompetent, including Carrick, says Omar63. Fair point. We are doing a combined 11 at the moment, so I will hit on that in a minute. And Fletch says he loves Kate Bush. She's getting on a bit now. And World Cup, Pogba and Kante, says Naeem. Yeah, but the World Cup is international football as well. And Darylin says you're a joke of a human being if you don't put Kante in. Mate, Kante's not the player he was. Like, he's not the player that he was. I think Kante is living off a reputation that he doesn't have anymore. Even most Chelsea fans know that. So, look, I'm not putting Kante in there, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, but I'm not. And I'm not putting Van der Beek in a holding role either. I love doing these things because immediately all rationale goes out the window. And you get United fans in the live comments saying, no, it should be Donny. It should be Pogba. But then, when we're normally talking about a United team, you can't play Pogba or Van der Beek in a holding role. No, you can't do that. So we're not going to do that. We're going to play logically, and we're going to go Kovacic, and we're going to go Fred. If you want to go Kante and Fred, I'll do that, but I ain't going Kovacic and Fred. So there you go. And I'm not going Kante and Pogba, never in a million years. And Miles says Kante is the best centre defensive midfielder in the world. I don't think he is anymore. I don't. I think many of you, and if you speak to some Chelsea fans, they'll tell you this as well. I think many people Kante's living off a reputation he doesn't have anymore. Watch him boss it tomorrow night. But no, I'm not going with Kante. I'm going with Kovacic and Fred. And then I'm going to go with a 3 with 1 up front. Now then, my 3 is going to be centrally Bruno Fernandes. There is only Havertz who can argue it, or maybe Mason Mount, and they can play in different roles if you want them to, and maybe they will. But I'm going with Bruno Fernandes as the head of the midfield 3 and the central of the 3 attackers. It's Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes. You can talk to me about Havertz in the Bundesliga. You can talk to me about Ziyech in the Ajax League. You can talk to me about Mason Mount and his love affair with Gareth Southgate and Frank Lampard, or their love affair with him. But it's Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is only second to Kevin De Bruyne, and Kevin De Bruyne doesn't play for Chelsea anymore. So it's Bruno Fernandes playing centrally. It's not even a debate. He's Premier League proven now because he's been here for 8 months. He delivers every bloody game he plays, even when he plays badly. It's Bruno Fernandes in that role. I do not care what anybody says. It's got to be Bruno Fernandes. And it's one area where I would actually say to any Chelsea fan, shut up. Like, I don't care what you try and tell me. You're talking about potential again, aren't you? It's Bruno Fernandes. Havertz did very well for Leverkusen. Has he lit the world on fire in the first few games for Chelsea? No. Did Bruno Fernandes light the world on fire in his first few games for United? Yes. Get in the queue. In 6 months, it might be Havertz, but right now, it's Bruno. Right-sided of the attackers in this 4-2-3-1, on that right-hand side, it's a dilemma for me. It is a dilemma for me because United haven't got one. We actually haven't got one. You could play Mata there. You could play Dan James there. We've never played Van der Beek there, although I think he can play there. So I've got to bow down to what Chelsea would do there. And to be honest with you, I don't know. To me, I don't think even Chelsea have done it, but it's Ziyech. I think Ziyech has got to play on the right side of a 4-2-3-1 because United haven't got anybody, and Ziyech, to me, is better than Mata, is better than Dan James, is better than Jesse Lingard, and it's a bit of it's too withdrawn for Greenwood to play there because we're playing a 4-2-3-1. We're not playing a 4-3-3. If we're playing a 4-3-3, you could argue Greenwood in, but I'm playing a 4-2-3-1. So to me, it's going to be Ziyech off that right hand side, because I just think I do rate him, so I think it would be Ziyech. A lot of people are saying Greenwood, but I think you're misinterpreting the formation I'm playing here. I'm playing a 4-2-3-1, not a 4-3-3. So that right-hand sided player is going to have to get back and track and be creative. It's a bit deep for Greenwood for me, so it's not going to be Greenwood. On the left-hand side, it's a straight fight. You can either put Paul Pogba there, which United haven't done, or you can go Rashford or Pulisic. Now, to me, United win that position. And I don't care. You can go with whatever you like. You can go with Pogba off that left-hand side, but it's not a left-wing position. It's a left attacking midfield position. Or you can go Rashford. But we ain't going Pulisic. I like Pulisic, but Pulisic does not get in over Rashford. For the simple reason, Marcus Rashford has proven off that left-hand side that he is a very, very good player in that position. And Pulisic hasn't done enough for me. He's a very good player, but he's literally done about half a season in the Premier League, and Rashford, I think, would work that position well. Now, Chelsea fans are going to go mad. They're going to go, it's got to be Pulisic, it's got to be Pulisic, it's got to be Pulisic. But for me, I'm not going to go with Pulisic. I'm going to go with Rashford, or if you want to get really creative, I'm going to go with Pogba. But I'm not going to go with Pulisic. So for me, it's Rashford. And Joshua says Rashford easy. Tom Strode says Pulisic. A lot of people are saying Rashford. I think that one comes. I've got to be absolutely honest. That one comes down to club bias. Chelsea fans are got every right to say Pulisic. I'm not going to argue with it. But as a United fan, I'm going to go Rashford, and I'm confident in that decision. So I'm going to go Rashford there. And then I'm going to do the manager as well. And then we go to the number 9. So we've got we've got De Gea in goal, we've got Wan-Bissaka, Thiago Silva, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw. I've got Kovacic and Fred as my holding midfielders, and then I've got Ziyech, Bruno, Rashford, one up front. And you know what it is? It's Anthony Martial against Timo Werner. Now, Chelsea fans are going to shit their pants. They're going to go, I can't believe what you've just said here. What are you talking about? It's got to be Timo Werner. And I'm going to say, what are you talking about? It's Anthony Martial. Because he is proven in the Premier League to be an all-round complete striker. Now, look, I actually thought he was on the same page as Harry Kane at one point, and I got sat down on that. But Timo Werner has played up front for Chelsea for 5 games now, or 4 or 5 games now. He's not set the world on fire. He scored a couple of goals last week. He's a very, very good, quick forward. But Martial's more than that. Martial can do the things that Werner does. Martial can run at somebody. Martial can shoot. Martial can score a goal. But Martial also brings in other players. He's running of the channels unselfishly. His coming deep and his little 1-2s and his intricate play. I don't see it. And again, I just see a Chelsea bias. I like Werner. I wish we'd bought Werner, and I would like to have seen Werner and Martial fight for our number 9 shirt. But it would have started off in Martial's possession. It wouldn't have been, to me, if we'd got Werner, it wouldn't have been drop Martial. So if that was my mentality, you can check my videos. When I wanted us to get Werner, I was like, I want competition for places. They can change around. But I ain't pushing Martial out the team for Timo Werner. So for me, it's Martial, definitely. Welcome to the Members Club, Josh Shegsy. Thanks for joining. And Martial all day, says 07 Kiran. And Dennis says you're crazy. Well, it's called an opinion, mate. Oliver Hill says Martial. And now your facts. Timo has been playing from the left. Up top, he's been awesome, says Callum Jack. But Callum, I couldn't really give a toss. Like, I'm still going to go Martial. I don't care how good Timo Werner is. And the danger is, Martial cannot prove me right tomorrow because he's not bloody playing. And Werner is. And there's no doubt that Werner's a great player. And the great thing is, if you win tomorrow and Werner scores a couple of goals, you can come back and clip this. But actually, it would be out of context by definition because Martial's not playing tomorrow. Werner is. So he's got that opportunity to prove the talent that I know he's got. But if you're asking me who I'm playing as my number 9 between a fit and firing Martial and a fit and firing Werner, I'm sorry, I'm going with our number 9, not yours. So that's how I'm going to go. So my combined 11 is David De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Thiago Silva, Harry Maguire, Telles, Kovacic, Fred, Ziyech, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Martial. And to be honest with you, I think United's 11 beats that. I think it's weird, isn't it? It's actually weird, but I think United would beat it. And maybe that's because they're used to playing together, but I don't actually think it's that good a team. And this is the thing about combined 11s. They don't actually tend to produce a great team. Every now and again they do, but I don't think that combined team is actually that good. I don't think it'd win the league. I don't. I just think you're fighting between 2 players in each position, and you just go with which one you go. And some of it's bias and some of it's not. But I don't think that's the best team. In fact, to be honest with you, I think the best combination of a Chelsea and United team wouldn't be a 4-2-3-1. I think it would be a diamond. I think what I would do is I'd go with the same back 5. I probably would play Kante in a holding role of a diamond, but not in a 2. So I'd play Kante in the holding role of a diamond. I'd then probably play Pogba and Kovacic in the 2 box-to-box roles with Bruno at the head of the diamond, and then I'd probably play Werner and Martial. So I wouldn't play Ziyech or Rashford or Havertz. So to me, I think that's the best. I think that's a good team. I think that's my combined 11, a diamond in the midfield. I think I would go David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Thiago Silva, Harry Maguire, Telles, Kante at the base of a diamond, Pogba and Kovacic, and then Bruno at the head of the diamond, and then Werner and Martial. I think that's a better team than the 4-2-3-1 team. But there you go. Manager, Lampard or Maguire? Lampard or Ollie? I do rate Lampard, you know. I do rate Lampard. But I'm going to go with Ollie because actually his record against Lampard is 3 wins against 1, isn't it? So, and what he did against PSG on Tuesday night is fresh in my mind that he can do those sort of things. So I'm going to go with Ollie. I think if you gave Werner a year in the Prem, most people might say that Werner is better than Martial. Have a good evening, Mark, says Josh Clement. And I agree with that. I said this before, didn't I? There's no doubt that you might be saying about that about Havertz in a year as well. Let's be honest. You might be putting Havertz over Bruno in a year. I'm not stupid. He's a very good player. And in a year's time, you might be putting Werner over Martial. And remember, I predicted that Werner would be the top scorer this year. So I'm not disputing that. But at this moment in time, I can't deal in speculation and potential. I can only deal in evidence. And the Premier League is not the Bundesliga. It isn't. So, can he do it in the Premier League? There's lots of strikers that have come into the Premier League that we've been told are going to be amazing and they don't deliver. So let's see. Let's see what happens with that. Mark, why don't we play 4-1-4-1? We could easily play that, says Ricketts. Well, we could do lots of things, in fact, couldn't we? This is just trolling Chelsea fans, says Vinny. Well, no, actually, I'm actually not. This is actually what I think. Anyway, get your questions in. It is Friday night, so we can blast into all of that. But I wanted to bring you some topical stuff as well. A little bit of a worry from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talking about Tuanzebe and saying that he can play in numerous positions. And I heard somebody saying today that Ole's found his new utility man in Tuanzebe because he can play right back, centre back. He can also play CDM. And I'm like, no, let's not turn Axel Tuanzebe into John O'Shea or Wes Brown. To me, let's turn Tuanzebe into John Terry or Virgil van Dijk or Rio Ferdinand or Nemanja Vidic. Let's turn him into one of the best centre-backs in Premier League history. And I know that's a big statement and I know it's a big ask, but I don't want to see Tuanzebe as a right back, a centre back and a CDM. And it could easily happen. You can say, oh, he's too good for that, but it can easily happen. If he doesn't get to specialise, he could find himself being moved around all over the place. And we have seen it with O'Shea and we have seen it with Wes Brown. And these players become very, very valuable in a squad because they can play in numerous positions. But he's too good. And he's got the attributes that most of our centre-backs haven't got. He's got raw pace and strength and ability to read a game. To me, Tuanzebe has got to be a centre-back, a centre-back and a centre-back. And I don't want to see him being nurtured as a utility guy who can play at right-back, who can play at centre defensive midfielder, who can play centre-back. To me, we've all seen it. He can be the best centre-back that we've got at this club, and we've all seen that. And that's what we need to do with Tuanzebe. Ledley King. I mean, I think there are... You know what, Phil? I think there are similarities between Ledley King and Axel Tuanzebe. I hope that they don't have the similarities of the injury record. But his recovery pace, his strength, his ability on the ball, his ability to read the game. Ledley King was an unbelievable centre-back for Spurs. But he got to a point in his career where he was so injury prone, he couldn't actually train. Like, he literally wasn't able to train. His knees were so bad, he could only play, I think, 1 game a week. It was so sad because he was a fantastic centre-back, but he was just riddled with injury in his legs and his knees specifically. So I hope that's not what's going to happen with Tuanzebe, but there are similarities, you're right. Fosu Mensah could be the squad player, says Marco, and I think that's more of a squad player because I don't think Fosu Mensah is going to establish himself as a first teamer, as a specialist, but he definitely could be that John O'Shea, Wes Brown sort of person, so I think that's good. Also, there's a bit of talk about the Pogba contract that's come out today, that Manchester United will not be held to ransom by Pogba. They're not going to give him silly money. They're not going to give him Sanchez money, 400 grand a week and all that jazz. So, I think in relation to that, what I would say is that I don't think United are in control of the Pogba situation. So, I think it's just manoeuvrability. It's trying to save face. It's trying to appear that you're in a strong position. United are not in control of the Pogba situation. They're not. And I don't think it matters whether we are or we're not. We've not picked Pogba for the last 2 games. We're trying to get the best out of Pogba. I think he's happy. I think Ollie's happy with what he's doing with him. He may well start against Chelsea tomorrow and have a worldie, and hopefully he does. But Paul Pogba is one of our most iconic players. He's massively marketable. He's massively popular. And he's massively talented. And clubs want Pogba. Whether it's Real Madrid, PSG, Juventus, they do. And he's only got 2 years left on his contract. Basically, he's got about 18 months, really, in January. So if we don't sell him next summer, he goes for nothing the following summer. So the power is with Pogba. And I don't think we can sit there and say we're not going to get held to ransom by Paul Pogba. Because ultimately, I think to get Pogba to sign a contract at any point in the next 6 months, you're going to have to make him an offer he can't refuse. And he can definitely refuse 250k a week because I think that's what he's on at the moment. So I don't really pay attention to that story. I think the only way United will keep Pogba is if we get into a title race or we get deep into the Champions League and he sees a team that's growing into being a world power. If he sees a team that's where it's been for the last 3 years, I think he'll let his contract run down until we sell him. So that's what I think about the Pogba situation. Tuanzebe as a CDM if we get Upamecano would be mad, says em.a. Look, I think Tuanzebe can play as a centre defensive midfielder, but why would you not want Tuanzebe and Upamecano to be the best centre-back pairing? I mean, the thing that I find funny about that comment is that centre-back pairings are a pairing. So if you get Upamecano, you're going to play him with Harry Maguire. But Upamecano and Tuanzebe, imagine how good they could be. They could be the best centre-back pairing we've had in years. So I would vote. I think Tuanzebe for me is a centre-back. Let's not try and turn him into a right-back or a CDM. He's a centre-back. That's where he plays. That's his position. And we're desperately short of top-quality centre-backs. And until we bring one in, I wouldn't even be thinking about playing him as a CDM, to be honest with you. Pogba makes $1 million a month. It's crazy, says Joanne. And bin Pogba off to Real Madrid, says Frank West. Only one thing certain when playing United is that they will get a penalty, says S. Well, you know what? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been talking about our home form and saying that maybe there's something not right. Maybe they've got to look at that, because the scary thing is, if we lose to Chelsea tomorrow, and one of you will be able to tell me if it's a record, if we lose to Chelsea at home tomorrow, we've lost our first 3 Premier League games at home. I can't remember a time that we've done that. First 3 Premier League games at home, lose. It's unthinkable. And, you know, for me, that's another reason why I don't think we'll lose to Chelsea. But that would be absolutely crazy to do that. So, Ollie said that we've got to look at it. You know, with lockdown, maybe we've been doing things a little bit differently at home. Our away record's fantastic, but our home record isn't actually good, even pre this season. So, we've got to, you know, I think we drew with West Ham, and did we draw with Southampton at Old Trafford as well towards the back end of last season? So I can't remember the last time we won at home. Was it Bournemouth? So yeah, we've got to turn that around, and it's good that Ollie's aware of it. And I think that, you know, so much of United's performances in relation to winning games, we do get a lot of penalties. You're right, we do get a lot of penalties, but I don't look at any of our penalties and think, oh, that was a dodgy one. I think the only one I think that's been dodgy was the Aston Villa one. And I actually thought that was a penalty, and I still think it was. I know I'm in the minority, but I did. But most of our penalties actually are penalties when you look at them. And I know VAR can be a little bit dodgy, like Man City's penalty the other night, and you go, how's it given that? But actually, when you look at United penalties, they are actually penalties. So I just think that United, we are a clever team in the box. I think we commit players and they make tackles and we get fouls. So I don't know why other clubs don't do that. Because we're not... The contradiction with what I've just said there is we get a lot of penalties because of the way we play in the box. But I still don't think we create enough chances in the box. So it's interesting how we get lots of opportunities in the box to win penalties, and they are penalties, but we don't get loads and loads of shots in the box. It doesn't make sense really, but I haven't got any problems with how many penalties we get. Mark, I know it's far away, but what do you think United's next year's transfers will be? A centre-back, right winger and one more, Badiashile, Dembele and a wild card. Thoughts, says Andrew C. Mate, I don't want to depress people on a Friday night, but if I'm absolutely honest with you, I'm not expecting Manchester United to do big business next summer. We've had the financials come through. We've paid dividends to the Glazers. We've lost 70 million. We're in £450 million worth of debt. To me, this points towards a very legitimate reason, and I don't like it, but a very legitimate reason not to spend much money. To go, we're in debt, it's a challenging time, we lost money, we can't spend money. So that was part of my frustration with last transfer window, is that I actually said it. You know, don't go and watch back any transfer videos on the United Stand, you will really depress yourself. But I did say it, and I'm sure many of you remember it. I said, this is now or never with Sancho. Not because I think he'll go to another club, but if you think we're not spending much money this summer, we'll definitely not spend much money next summer. We'll definitely use COVID. When a fan's going to be back at Old Trafford? It's not going to happen before Christmas, is it? So we're going to lose half a year of revenue. We're going to lose more money than we've already lost. I don't think we'll spend money next year. I think we'll buy one player of value, and it might be a centre-back. I don't think we'll spend 100 million. We didn't spend 100 million this year. And if we sell Pogba, we won't get that much money for him because he's only got a year left on his contract. So Pogba's going to go for about 40, 50 million max. So I don't think we'll spend a lot of money next year. I'm sorry, I don't. Marcel Douglas, welcome to the Members Club. To be honest, when it comes to transfer windows with Manchester United, expect them to get worse. The last 2 have been awful. And I think the only reason we're not thinking about that is because 1, we're not in a transfer window anymore. And 2, we've had a good couple of results recently. But I'm not going to forget what happened in the last transfer window, and I'm not going to expect anything better in the next one. What's the point if this board won't even back Ollie and this team come next summer? I just like you. It's hard to believe, Mark. Do the players believe? Says King Django. Well, look, I think the great thing about this situation at the moment is that the transfer window is not open, and we just focus on what we've got, and we've got to go with what we've got. And I don't think what we've got is as good as it should be, but they're doing quite well at the moment, and we've just got to have that siege mentality. Review of Ted Lasso, says Michael Bryan. I haven't watched it because it's on Apple TV, isn't it? And I haven't got Apple TV, so I can't watch it. Don't know what it's all about. There you go. Chuck your questions anyway. Let's do some Q&A. Do some super chats or just normal comments, whatever. Thanks to everyone who's become a member, by the way. Please smash a like on the video. My score prediction for tomorrow, Alu, is 2-1. Epic says I like Pogba. Tellez is not travelling, says Salahuddin. Well, you don't need to travel, so I don't know what is going on there. A couple of people have said that. I'll just double check on that. That would be very surprising about Tellez. But remember, it's a home game, so it would be very surprising. So Man United's squad to face Chelsea: De Gea, Henderson, Bishop, Wan-Bissaka, Fosu Mensah, Lindelof, Maguire, Tuanzebe, Shaw, Van der Beek, Matic, McTominay, Fred, Pogba, Mata, Fernandes, James, Greenwood, Cavani, Rashford. Maguire's there, Greenwood's there, Cavani is there. And actually, Tellez was not spotted by photographers, but he's staying at the Lowry Hotel where the rest of the Man United squad are staying, so he will be part of the squad. That's just Manchester. That's just the photographers who were spotting the players arriving. So he stays at that hotel, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. But Maguire fit is a bit of a concern, of course. I spoke about that this morning. There's no way Maguire should start tomorrow, but he will start. So I wouldn't even start getting yourself stressed out about that. And as Ray said, Tellez was not spotted, but he is there, so don't worry. There's absolutely no reason to leave him out. Palestri's playing tonight, Ninja, so he wouldn't be playing. He won't be a part of the squad tomorrow at all. Can we beat Leipzig, says Zane. I don't really care at the moment, to be blunt. It's not really that important, is it? We've got a bigger game to come tomorrow. I mean, look, in a week's time, we're going to be talking about playing Arsenal, and that's going to be a massive game, and I think that's at the Emirates. So that's a massive game against Arsenal. We lost there last year, but to be honest with you, apart from saying we've got Arsenal next week, I couldn't give a toss about Arsenal because tomorrow is a massive game. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, hopefully. Very excited. And yeah, it's a massive game. And I think that I like this. I've said it many times. I'd rather we were playing Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton than we were playing Burnley, West Ham, West Brom and Fulham. Because I know that would be 9 points, but when is it ever 9 points for United? I feel that this team at the moment needs consistency, and this team performs better when it's playing hard teams. So the best way for us to grind out consistency is by playing better teams that keep us on our toes. I think traditionally United for the last 7 years have been a team that when you expect us to win, we don't turn up, and then when we play the big teams, we do. So I actually think it's better for us to play Chelsea, Arsenal and Everton. And look, there's an opportunity there. There's a real opportunity there. On our day, we can beat anybody. We showed that against PSG. If we beat Chelsea, Arsenal and Everton, we're in a title race. It's as simple as that. If we get 7 points, we're probably still in a race. So we've got to go and get it. Don't expect... Kinky says, don't expect fans back before next summer. Transmission of COVID is expected to increase in the winter. Yeah, and the winter won't be done till like March, will it? So I'm with you on that. I am. It's at Old Trafford against Arsenal. Okay, so we've got 2 home games in a row. So, I mean, the thing is, in keeping with Kinky there, what's the value of a home game now? What do you think the value of a home game is? Because I don't actually think, when you look at it, Man City got beat by Leicester at home. Villa beat Liverpool 7-2 at Villa Park, but I don't think these results happen if there's a crowd. And I know that sounds weird because it's Villa's crowd, but I just think that I don't know how much advantage you get with being a home or away team at the moment. I don't think it makes a massive amount of difference. Who gets the armband tomorrow, says Mojo? Well, it'll be Maguire. If Maguire starts, and I think he will start, he will have the captain's armband. I totally And Rab Nation says Maguire, but I want it to be Bruno. I don't want Maguire to start. I want Bruno to get the captaincy, and I don't want Maguire to start because I don't think he deserves to. The sad thing is, I think he's going to play Maguire and Lindelof and drop Tuanzebe. And I just hope it works, because if it doesn't work, he's going to get pelters, isn't he? And that's the risk. You know, Timo Werner's quick. Timo Werner's mobile. Harry Maguire and Lindelof aren't. Tuanzebe is. You know, you're changing a winning team. At the end of the day, you're changing a winning team and you're taking out a quick player to play a player who shouldn't play, who is slow. It doesn't make sense to me, but I think that's what will happen. What Premier League front three would you trade with United, says Zed Toxicity. I wouldn't trade anything with Liverpool because they're our biggest rival, but they have got the best front three. And I know people don't like Firmino, but Salah and Mane are pretty good. So, yeah, they're the best front three, aren't they? I think we all know that. When should Henderson start, says Neil. I think you're probably in the minority there, Neil. I mean, is Henderson for De Gea even a thing anymore? I think at best you could say that Henderson being on the bench has kept De Gea on his toes, but you know, Henderson ain't De Gea at the moment. The best of Henderson is not anywhere near what De Gea is at the moment. We've got David De Gea back at his best, and you know, that save against Newcastle last week's one of the best saves I've seen in years. It was absolutely amazing. So he's just playing fantastically well. There's no conversation to be had. There isn't. This is one of the... Well, there is a conversation to be had. This is one of the best communities there are. Been home from work sick, and these shows are the highlight of the day. Thanks for everything, says Elliot Holmstrom. Thank you very much for the super chat, Elliot. And regardless of who wears the armband, do you think the players see Bruno as the captain? Also, Mark, I'm from a place in America called Prattville. I'm coming to Prattville, fervent nuts. Yeah, look, actually, there's always that question of how important the captain's armband actually is. Very important if the right person's wearing it. If Roy Keane's wearing the captain's armband, then he's the captain. If John Terry's wearing it for Chelsea, he's the captain. If Steven Gerrard's wearing it for Liverpool, then he's the captain. But if you think back to that United team, if Gary Neville had the captain's armband on, he might be a decent captain, but Roy Keane would be the captain because he is the captain. So I think Harry Maguire can wear that captain's armband tomorrow and everyone can say he's the captain, and he is the captain. But I think we all know the real leader on that pitch is Bruno Fernandes. I think they've got to get fans in the ground by January. The sport needs them. They can distance within the stadium like they've done in the NFL, says Racehorse Red. And Mark, you speak straight facts. Keep it up. Thoughts on us winning a trophy this year, says Salahadin. I can't make that prediction, really. I will, because I don't like sitting on the fence. But if United... I think United can win a trophy this year. But we lost 3 semi-finals last year, so we could easily not win one. I think United's... You know, to be fair to people who are Ollie out, and I know some people are, you in a week and a half's time, you could be absolutely demanding Ollie gets the sack. Because if he loses tomorrow and he loses against Arsenal and he loses against Leipzig, do PSG and Newcastle really matter that much? You know, we know these games are huge. And we know if we lose to Chelsea and Arsenal, we'll have lost 4 and won 2 and have 6 points and be in the bottom 3. So things can change very, very quickly. So for me to sit here and say, yeah, we can win a trophy, I'm fully aware how things can change. But I just hope that these players keep up their performances of the last 2 games and the camaraderie of the last 2 games. And that Ollie keeps getting it right like he did over the last 2 games. But I'll put my hand up and say, look, I'm worried about tomorrow because Chelsea's front 3 are quick. 4, really. They're quick, they're intricate, and against Lindelof and Maguire, that could be a problem. Or, if he plays a back 5, I'm like, oh my God, we're playing a back 5 at Old Trafford. It might work. Like, it has worked. We can win with a back 5. But I'm like, where's the evolution then, Ollie? What are we? We're a club that plays a back 5 against any decent side. Like, who does that? You know, Arsenal are doing that at the moment. They finished 8th last year. Did Liverpool play a back 5? Did Bayern Munich play a back 5? Did Man City play a back 5? You know, this season for me has got to be about evolution, not getting by. So we could see a back 5 tomorrow to protect Maguire's lack of pace. But I think it's got to be a back four. It's got to be a back four. De Gea getting back to his best of sorts is probably because he knows that he has serious competition from Henderson, says Mojo. And if Ollie really wants to be ruthless, the team against PSG doesn't change, only for Rashford up front, Pogba left of a 3 and a Mata 4-2-3-1. Ruthless Ollie, says TJ Hogan. Well, the thing is, as I said, too many changes and a bad result, and people will be like, what are you doing? You know, you didn't need to change a winning team. And remember, we played PSG on Tuesday, not Wednesday. That's a good break. It's a good break. Are you and Flex doing content with Don Robbie this week, says the Watcher? And you know, I've not even thought about it. Get Chelsea out the way. They've got to get Leicester out the way, and then we'll sort something out, I'm sure, yeah. We'll win with that formation, says Manu. And Mark Tellez is not in the squad. He is, Nana David. They're staying at the hotel that Tellez lives in, so he wouldn't be turning up. Why in God's name does everybody praise Pogba? This guy has done absolutely nothing for us. He's easily dispossessed. We are a far better team without him, says Mark Coogan. Well, you know, would you start Pogba tomorrow? It's a personal choice, isn't it? Would you start Pogba tomorrow? I can't remember what I said in the previews now. It's been such a long week. I know I said I'd play a back four. I think Pogba starts in my team. Yeah, I think... yeah, whether you play a diamond or whether you play a 4-2-3-1. I think I said McTominay and Fred as the 2. Bruno central, Mata right, Pogba left and Rashford. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Pogba does start in my team. I'm not convinced he'll start in Ollie's team, though. I'm not convinced. In a back 5, he won't start. If we play a back 5, Pogba won't start. Because it'll be a back 5, McTominay, Fred, Bruno, Rashford and James. He might not play Pogba tomorrow. So if he plays a back 5, Pogba won't start. In fact, I don't think Pogba will start tomorrow. I don't think Pogba's going to start tomorrow. I would play him. I'd play him in a 4-2-3-1 and I'd play him in a 4-4-2 diamond as well. But Frank West says leave him on the bench. And then Active Dan says Pogba needs to play. I would pick him. I mean, Vince says Van der Beek. I don't even put Van der Beek in my team because I just know there's no chance of him playing. Wait, didn't you say you were out in the pub tonight, says Phantom Gaming? After this, I can't do a watch along. Got to get him to 60 minutes at least, says Emodity A. But also, what I would say about Pogba, and I really noticed it against PSG, he still doesn't look match fit to me. So if he's carrying something, and I think he is, then I wouldn't pick Pogba anyway. No, I wouldn't. So there you go. Kobe's being sick about a back 5. Donny needs to play, says Michael Jones. And you said Pogba, Bruno, Mata, says NZ. Yeah, so I think that was in a 4-2-3-1. I think my team in a 4-2-3-1 was David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Tuanzebe and Lindelof with Tellez at left back. McTominay and Fred, Bruno, Mata, Pogba, Rashford. I'd love to see that team. I think it would work really, really well. But it's going to be a hard game tomorrow. You know, I can already feel that's going to be a hard game tomorrow. Chelsea are a good side. We've got to be really good tomorrow. It's going to be hard. I mean, the head says a draw. The heart says we've got to win. Let's get up Meccano in January. I strongly believe we can win this game. Mark, is Cavani playing tomorrow? No. Don't expect Cavani to start. No way. He won't start. He can't. He just cannot be fit to start tomorrow. There's no way he can be fit. So he won't start. I think he'll be on the bench. I feel bad for Donny. He could potentially be our best midfielder. Why won't we play him? Says Progressive Dad. I don't think Ollie totally understands Donny yet, to be honest with you. I think Ollie thinks Donny can only play in the Bruno role, and he can't. He can play in numerous positions, so I think that's what it's all about at the moment. Zed Jamie says, are you worried Bruno will get burned out playing every game this season? Ollie needs to manage him throughout the season. I think he does, Jamie. You know what? There's a part of me thinks that maybe we don't start Bruno against Leipzig. Because I think you're right. You know, he's going to need a rest. Played 3 games in the international break. Played the first 3 games of the season. Got barely any summer break. But he's got to play tomorrow. You can't not play him against Chelsea. You can't not play him against Arsenal. You can't not play him against Everton. So maybe the 2 Champions League games, Leipzig and, you know, the Turkish side. Give him a rest there. Keep it the same as PSG, see how we get on, then switch to 4-3-3 if we're ahead, says Lee McDermott. Mate, if he sends the same team out as against PSG, as much as I don't like the back five, at least he's saying I can't change a winning team. So I don't mind if he does that. But then who plays up with instead of Martial? Do you play Dan James there? And that in itself is, I think, a little bit risky. Mark, we should get Alaba and not Upamecano, who'd be cheap and he's great centre-back, says Roy Banger. Well, if you've been watching my Manchester United FIFA career mode on Mark Goldbridge, that's football, Alaba plays for me, left-footed. And Joshua Bowater says, Mark, has anyone ever told you that you look like a B-Tech Brad Pitt? Q, flex, stop the disrespect on B-Techs. I've never been told that I look like a B-Tech Brad Pitt. I've been told that I look like a... No, I'm not even going to mention it, but I'm a very tired person at the moment. I've done so much content today, it's unbelievable. 10 o'clock show, going for Goldbridge. Chart show's been recorded, that's going out tomorrow morning. I'm so excited to get the chart show back. I don't know why it didn't come back as soon as it did. It should have come back sooner. Chart show's banging tomorrow. Make sure you watch it. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, chart show is out. Don't know whether to do it as just an upload or as a premiere though. Let me know what you think. Shall I just upload it so you can watch it, or do you want me to put it as a scheduled premiere? Because it won't be live, it can play out like that. But very excited about that. Afternoon show with Beth, Premier League show. Flex wasn't on it because he had an appointment that he had to go to, so he wasn't dropped, he just couldn't do it. FIFA, I've just done on That's Football, and then this. So tired. But yeah, lots going on. And I had a bad night's sleep last night as well. I had one glass of red wine and it totally messed me up. Really weird. Really weird. And I've been told I look like a prat, says Rolando. Ollie had enough time, it's time to go, says Nobby. And Greenwood needs to prove himself to get his position. I've totally forgot about Greenwood. You could play... What we could do tomorrow, and I wouldn't mind us doing it actually, is we could play the same team that we did against PSG, but with Greenwood instead of Martial. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Wouldn't mind seeing that at all. The team's not been... Look, I wouldn't even listen to any leaked team anymore because the leaked team last week was such a leaked team. You may as well put it in a soup with some potato, and it was wrong. It was very wrong. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. So yeah, we've got the chart show tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I think you're going to really enjoy it. If you've never seen the chart show, just get on the United stand at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. If you have seen it, you're in for a surprise. Top 10 players of the week, United. A bit like Top of the Pops used to be, but with footballers for Manchester United. We rank from 10 to 1, our top 10 United players of the week. I already know who's number 1. I already know who's number 2. I already know who's number 3. And I already know who's not in the top 10. So it's going to be a cracking show. Tune in for that at 10 o'clock tomorrow. And then we've got the watch-alongs, the match reaction, the player ratings, the whole lot. Massive day tomorrow. Just gutted we didn't do enough business this summer. Prem is so wide open and we already kind of had a lot of options off the bench, says Kazu. And Axel has to start. The thought of Werner running at the cargo ship Maguire is a scary thought, says Chris Elliott. It is. But don't let it keep you away. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon. Smash a like on the video and make sure you subscribe if you're new because you need your notifications on for the upload for the chart show anyway. So subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Welcome to Niall Borman. Welcome to the Members Club, pal. Thanks for supporting the channel. You can do that by clicking the join button. I'll see you in the morning. And as Joms Viking says, Sing Bridge incoming tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, the chart show. I'll see you then.